You're listening to RazorCast, USA's hottest podcast, bringing you cutting-edge interviews from leading industry professionals.
Hello, everyone. This is Liz Harvey coming to you from our studios in New York City, where we are dedicated to bringing you cutting-edge interviews from many of the leading industry professionals across the U.S. In today's episode, we are speaking with Stephanie Heintzeler. Stephanie is a German-educated midwife, a U.S.-educated doula, an acupuncturist, and she is a certified lactation counselor. She is known as the New York Doula. Stephanie has delivered over 1,200 babies and has experience with twins, triplets, breech babies, and water births. She also works with newborn parents in their postpartum stage and holds classes and seminars for moms and dads-to-be. With a wealth of experience and knowledge in her field, Stephanie Heintzeler is widely considered to be one of the top doulas in the country. She is also a contributing member of our national network of industry professionals. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic, pregnancy and Dr. Google, why your doula should be your Google. Hi, Stephanie. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so we know what Google is, but not everyone is familiar with what a doula is. Please explain again for us what a doula is and what it takes to become a doula.
A doula is a non-medical birth coach. Doula comes from the Greek, and translated it means a woman who serves another woman. So doulas help expecting women to find the right hospital, the right birth team, doctor, midwife. Doulas teach classes, childbirth classes, breastfeeding, newborn classes. Doulas do home visits, which nobody else, like your OB, wouldn't visit you at home. Oftentimes they have a lactation counseling certification, and mainly they do birth support. So having a doula lowers the C-section rate by 40%, and it lowers the need of pain medication by 60%. But that being said, it's not that a doula wants the mother to have a natural birth, but the doula wants the mother to have the birth that she wants. So we create a birth plan together and make sure that we that the mother gets what she wants. The doula also makes a connection between the obstetrician or midwife and the mother. So explains medical terms, maybe explains the pros and cons of interventions. So really is the person who knows the parents best. In the end, we don't know which doctor is going to be at the birth. And to become a doula, it's very different. Most of the time, doulas do a 4-day or 1-week training, but then they need another few months to attend a few births and train, like do online training themselves in order to get certified.
And can a doula answer almost any pregnancy-related question?
Not really. So a doula can answer any non-medical questions. Like for me, I've done midwifery, right? So I know all the medical questions, and I certainly know the answers to that, but I'm not a midwife here. So depending on whether the mom asks me a medical or non-medical questions, I refer to the doctor or midwife, also because they are the ones who take care of the medical stuff. So they should know if the mom has cramps, for example. That's not something I would answer because I'm not the medical person for her, and it should certainly be something that concerns the doctor or midwife. But of course, we can say what's normal in terms of like early labor, what's normal in terms of if the mother has cramping, and depending on where she feels it, I say call your doctor. And usually the doctor says come in or don't come in or call me when it's happening again, and then we discuss what she can do so she feels better about it. Or if she has problems breastfeeding, then we discuss what she can do in terms of how to latch the baby on correctly or how to help the baby gain weight. Many moms have problems, and those are medical problems, like they have back pain. And the doctor checked on that several times, and everything is okay. The pregnancy is going well. So this would be something where I refer and help her to figure out what can help with the back pain. There's a lot of things I know that can help, from acupuncture and certain kind of yoga and certain classes like MELT. Many people haven't heard about it, but MELT is like amazing. It's just very, very simple exercises that you can do at home or even take a class in order to alleviate back pain. Some have sleep problems, some have heartburn, so we go over the nutrition, what kind of nutrition are what are you eating right now, and what can help with that. So we work hand in hand with the doctor in terms of doctors and midwives do the medical stuff, and everything else is handled by the doula. And most of the time, moms ask what should I buy? Like, what do I need for the baby? So I usually send out emails and make sure that moms know what they should purchase, when they need to organize what, because some strollers take 2 months to deliver. So you don't want to buy a stroller at 36 weeks. You want to buy that at 30 weeks. Some moms don't know that they need a car seat in order to go back home from the hospital. So things like that, that's what the doula does. So she's like a pregnancy, birth, and postpartum coach, but really, really looking at the whole picture.
And when is it a bad idea to use Google to get answers to your pregnancy questions?
To be honest, it's always a bad idea. It's because it's really something, I usually tell my moms, just call me, text me, call me, and then, depending on what you feel, I tell you, call your OB, or we'll answer if it's something that's not medical. But, you Google back pain in pregnancy, and then it says, yeah, usually it's tension, but it could be contractions, and you could have a premature birth. Or you Google spotty bleeding at 38 weeks, and you just had a vaginal exam maybe, or you just had sex. And, yeah, it could be normal that you're bleeding, but online it says, ooh, you might have, your placenta is detaching. So it can be very scary, and most moms, they call and say, oh, I Googled, and it did say, I could go in labor with this. And so they Googled first, and then they called the obstetrician or me. And it's like, seriously? Like, why would you put such an amount of stress on yourself? And I get it. It's important, of course, online to say all the things that could happen, but Google doesn't know that the mom just had a vaginal exam yesterday, and this might be the reason why she's bleeding a little bit. So it is important to lower your stress and not over-inform yourself. I even have clients who I tell, don't take a childbirth class. Don't do it. Like, you have me, I'm here. Call me when you have contractions. And, of course, we discuss everything before we do a private class at home. But we don't want to go over all the maybes, because some moms, some partners, it is too stressful for them. And then they really think their water broke just because we spoke about this is the sign of labor and your water could break, and a day later they think their water broke. So parents are so receptive to pregnancy-related things, and they read something, and of course they have it, that it's really especially in pregnancy, it's better that's why you have a doula, that's why you have your obstetrician and midwife, to use them instead of Googling around.
And that kind of leads to my next question. What are some reasons that pregnant women want to hire a doula?
The reason is usually they want to feel safe. They really want to feel taken care of. Oftentimes I hear, and that's actually quite nice, that I kind of fill in all these empty spots they were having. So some hire me at like 5 months. Sometimes I'm, available if moms hire me like 4 months before the due date. But otherwise one of my doulas are, and they're like, oh my God, like all these questions that I had no idea my doula could answer those. Like, it's all these little questions that don't really go to the obstetrician and to the midwife, but this is what the doula would answer. And they just want to have someone who they can email and text and call every day, if they want to. They want to know who's going to be at the birth, because oftentimes we don't know which doctor will show up in the end. Maybe they want a natural birth and they want their doula for that, and of course that could help. Like with the doula, usually the epidural rate is 50% versus 90% in New York otherwise. But it's not even the key for the doula to have a natural birth, but it's so the mom really has a good birth experience, and sometimes that is having an epidural. But having an epidural a little later, like not super early, but being able to coach through a few contractions so that the mother is in active labor, so that way we lower the C-section risk. And then the doula stays in the room the whole time throughout the birth, so we can easily catch little things, anxiety that suddenly arises, exhaustion, maybe the contraction changes and the mom doesn't know how to breathe and the partner just fell asleep. So moms really want to have like a guidance throughout pregnancy, birth, and of course postpartum.
Okay, and lastly, what is the biggest impact a doula can have on a woman's pregnancy?
The biggest impact is to have a good pregnancy and a good birth and postpartum time. That it's really, all the numbers, if you look at postpartum depression, C-section rate, pain medication, overall experience, successful breastfeeding, even the relationship is better when you have a doula, because doulas know what questions come up. And it's like there's like someone next to you kind of holding your hand the whole time. Moms feel generally just better. They feel safer. They just feel confident. Like usually after a prenatal visit, which we do maybe 4 to 6 weeks before the due date, they get a sheet. We call it the hot sheet. And this hot sheet gets all the information like when to call and what are signs of labor, and for the partner, what to watch out for and what's labor and what's not and what you can do. And this is an amazing sheet that parents just like love, and they put it on their fridge. And they get this and they're like, okay, I get it. You know, they're like, oh, now I get the difference between early labor and active labor. And now I know when to call and you know, even like what to expect. That's what many parents, they're really freaked out because they think it's, you know, they might have a 24-hour birth or they might have a 2-hour birth. That's very scary too. And they just know what to expect and also how to handle it quickly. And that puts them at ease. And that's really it. That's really what makes it all so much better.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. We know you're extremely busy, so I just want to thank you for all of your time and help today.
Thanks for having me.
And for our listeners across the country, if you are interested in speaking with Stephanie Heintzeler, please visit www.thenewyorkdoula.com or call 917-399-2031 to schedule an appointment. And on behalf of our entire team, we want to thank you for listening, and we look forward to bringing you more top-quality content from our country's leading industry professionals.
You've been listening to RazorCast, USA's hottest podcast, bringing you cutting-edge interviews from leading industry professionals.